Hey third grade, it's Mrs. Selfridge here. Happy Monday morning. I just want to tell you today for our lesson on mass and kilograms and grams, we're going to be doing some skipping around. Most of you don't have a bucket balance at home, or a lot of gram cubes laying around. So a lot of this charting that they'll have you do, you don't need to do it. We'll get the gist of the idea of the lesson and we'll just move on from there. So today forgot to say hello to Dolly. Hello, Dolly. Today we'll start on page 645 in your math book. Mass is the amount of matter or material in an object. 1 metric unit of mass is the kilogram. There are items that have a mass of about 1 kilogram. 400 pennies, a baseball bat, a dictionary. We use kilograms when we're measuring objects with a greater mass. Just like we did last week with the liter and the milliliter. Liters were for bigger items or more liquid volume, and this is for items that are a little bit bigger. We're going to use the kilogram. Okay, this is the chart I was talking about. You can skip unless you want to do it on your own at home. Use some items around the house. I'm going to skip through this. When we talk about a gram, we're talking about something smaller. What does 1 gram feel like? Well, here are some items that have a mass of about a gram. A paper clip, a base 10 cube. We have some of these gram cubes that we use several times in the classroom. You probably remember them. We use grams to measure objects of lesser mass. We're just going to skip through this little guy again. Here we go. Okay, what characteristics were shared by the objects that you chose to measure in the mass of in grams? Well, you're probably going to find that there are smaller items closer to the mass of a paper clip than the mass of a baseball bat. When we're measuring small items, we're going to measure them in grams, not kilograms. Give you a second to write that down. And then number 2, does a large object always have a greater mass than a small object? I want you to think about that. Just because it's large, is it heavy? And we can always say no. Think about this. A brick has a greater mass than a balloon, but a balloon can be larger than a brick. Okay, now I want you to circle the unit to measure each mass. So think about this, okay? Remember, gram, something smaller, kilogram, something bigger, like the size of a baseball bat. So toothbrush, yeah, I think that you're going to go with gram on that one. Go ahead and look at numbers 4 through 8 and see if you can come up with an answer for those real quick while I'm waiting. Okay. Hopefully that was pretty easy for you. Television, kilograms. Shovel, kilograms. Teddy bear, gram. Pair of sunglasses are smaller, gram. Lawnmower, we're going to measure in kilograms, okay? All right, check this one out. Watermelon. You know that's a little bit bigger, right? And then we have a hairbrush and then a fish. Okay, keeping in mind that grams are smaller. Kilograms is what we're going to measure the watermelon with. 50 grams for the hairbrush. And the fish we're going to measure in kilograms, okay? It must be a pretty big fish, not a Debbie. All right, number 12, circle the better estimate. This is a bike, okay? So is it 15 grams? Is it like 15 paper clips? Or does it weigh about the same as 15 baseball bats? A car, 900 paper clips or 900 baseball bats? And then a nickel. What do you think? Okay. Hopefully I came up with the right answers. Number 15, a store in the mall sells fresh baked pretzels. Would it be more reasonable to measure the mass of a baked pretzel in grams or kilograms? Okay, the pretzels at the mall are pretty light, so I'm thinking you're going to measure that one in grams, right? Okay. And number 16, Mrs. Charles grows squash in her garden. Which would be a more reasonable estimate for the mass of a squash? Now, squash is a vegetable. 500 grams, which is about 500 paper clips, or about 500 baseball bats. Unless Mrs. Charles is a giant, she's probably going to measure that in grams, right? A bag of potatoes has a mass of about 3 kilograms. Name 2 other items that have the same mass. Okay, think about a bag of potatoes. 3 baseball bats, something that weighs about the same as 3 baseball bats. Maybe you came up with a bag of apples, a bag of flour, okay? Maybe you came up with something else. You're probably pretty close. All right, number 18, you have to find the error. Jack held an apple in his hand. He said the apple feels like it has a mass of 100 kilograms. Think about that in your head. That's like 100 baseball bats. What's his error? What should he have said? Do you think that maybe Jack should have said 100 grams? Yeah, he should have said 100 grams. And what is different about the items you measured in grams and those you measured in kilograms? Before we write the answer, I'm thinking that the things you measured in grams were probably smaller, right? Or lighter, had less mass. The items in grams were lighter, had less mass than the items I measured in kilograms, okay? It's time for you to do your homework, okay? Think about this as you go through it. Remember, a gram is about the size of or the weight of a paperclip. A kilogram, about the weight of a baseball bat. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're going through these and thinking of your answer choices. Small, large, okay, larger item. Good luck, do your best. I miss you guys. I look forward to seeing some of you this week. Talk to you later.